after I saw you for the first time. It goes, whoa, Senator Gillibrand is so cool. It was so refreshing seeing a woman who was intelligent, thoughtful, and articulate, showing her ambition and flexing her qualifications. She understands that to act on climate is to act on environmental inequality. I am so here for this. And with that, I turn it on over to all-around badass Kirsten Gillibrand.
Best title ever.
Yeah.
So we were talking about a tattoo today, and I kind of like that overall badass. And where would you put it, if we could put it?
And I think we need the I love mom arm. But
Yeah, I kind of like it here, but I don't know. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Our voices are necessary in this democracy. If we do not take the power and the reins of our democracy away from the privileged, away from the ultra wealthy, away from the most powerful companies in the world, we will not recognize this country. It's why I'm actually running on publicly funded elections. It's why I want money out of politics. It's why I will fight to restore voting rights and make sure that our voices are heard. So my first experience was going to a campaign headquarters at the age of 10. And it's on a hot August day. And there's a lot of women in the headquarters, and they're all wearing cotton shift dresses, sleeveless dresses, because it's hot. There's no air conditioning. And they're stuffing envelopes, and they're stuffing and stuffing and stuffing. And I'm 10, and I'm looking at them, and I'm mesmerized by their arms. Their jiggly arms that are jiggling and jiggling and jiggling. And I'm thinking to myself, I want to be just like them someday. Sure enough, my arms jiggle just like my grandmother's. And so that was my first impression of politics. And I can't think of a time more important than now that each one of us recognize how important our voices are. I cannot tell you what is at stake in this election. President Trump is tearing apart the moral fabric of this country. He's doing it by dividing us on every racial line, every religious line, every socioeconomic line you can imagine. He's attacking freedom of the press. He attacks the independence of the judiciary. He attacks the independence of the Department of Justice. He won't even respond. His administration will not even respond to subpoenas. So he does not believe of the balance of powers of our constitutional democracy. He's someone who demonizes the vulnerable. He is someone who punches down. Our president wants us to believe he is strong. He is not. Our president is a coward. This country deserves someone who is brave, someone who will do what's right, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Someone who will go through fire to do what's right. And that is who I am. So when President Trump tries to come at me and glowers over me in a debate, not only will I dismiss him, but I will treat him as the toddler that he is. I will say to him, your spot is over there. Your turn is in a little while. My turn now, and I will dismiss him as the tempestuous child that he actually is. So I think what Senator Shaheen has done here in New Hampshire is a model for the rest of the country. I think what your governor has done to try to disenfranchise students is outrageous. It shows his lack of leadership and his lack of vision, and that he is afraid of how students will vote. So your governor is afraid, which is a shame.
Your polling numbers in New Hampshire have remained a little bit low, and now we have the vice president in the race officially, so there's yet another candidate to compete with. How are you going to work to improve that specifically in New Hampshire?
voter by voter. And in fact, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And I believe that I will win New Hampshire by talking to voter after voter in communities like this, whether it's at a bar, whether it's at a coffee shop, or whether it's at a house party. And that's what our democracy is about. And I know that New Hampshire takes its responsibility of first in the nation primary seriously. They're going to look at every single candidate at least 4 or 5 times before they decide. And I know over time they will come to see that I am the best candidate to beat President Trump and the best candidate to bring this country back together again.
Do you think that Donald Trump will serve out the rest of his term, or do you think he will be impeached?
Well, my plan is to beat Donald Trump at the ballot box, but I've read the Mueller report, and I have to say it is deeply damning. And there are multiple bases for obstruction of justice. So I'm grateful that Speaker Pelosi is going to hold hearings in 4 major committees to get to the bottom of the facts that were revealed in that report. And I'm grateful that she will seek the testimony of not only Mueller, but Barr and McGahn. I also want to see the full report in unredacted form. I believe Congress is entitled to that. We have access to top secret information routinely as part of our jobs, and it is not appropriate and illegitimate for the Attorney General to stand in between the special counsel and Congress. The purpose of that statute was for the special counsel to be able to advise and give information to the American people when issues like this arise. And he has put himself right in between us, not only with his first 4-page summary, but also with his redactions, and it has to stop.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
But
of course, it has to stay on the table, because the House will decide whether or not to begin proceedings.
Sure. The opioid crisis in New Hampshire is still ongoing. What can you do specifically as president about the crisis?
A couple of things. Now, you have amazing senators. Senator Shaheen and Senator Hassan have led the charge in getting billions of dollars to deal with the opioid crisis. But there's a couple of things that are still necessary. I think we have to take on the drug manufacturers that have poured these drugs into our communities. We now know from emails from the Sackler family that they intended for these drugs to be more addictive and to mislead doctors into prescribing them in larger doses in longer time periods, 30, 60, 90-day supplies, even for acute pain. And so we need to take on the drug companies where they have misled the medical community and misled the American people, including criminal conviction.
The governor of California endorsed Senator Harris. The governor of your state has endorsed Vice President Biden.
Yes.
Comment about that?
The truth is, this presidential election will not be won on the endorsements of powerful people. It will be won on the votes of the people, the populace of this country. And so I know that this election is a marathon and not a sprint, and I intend to win New Hampshire and Iowa. And so our governor can endorse whoever he likes, but I am the best candidate to defeat President Trump, and I will.